Kevin Durant's leadership came up on a studio show, First Take, that I was doing last week or the week before. And you were around Steph. And at different points in time recently, his leadership has been questioned. And we were having a conversation earlier today with Mike and Doris about leadership in the NBA from the player side. And I do want to ask about leadership from the front office side and leadership from the coaching side. And I've never played with Steph. I don't know Steph's leadership style. I've never played with Kevin. I don't know Kevin's leadership style. I have no qualms about how they lead.
Right.
But it's interesting to me that when I played, it was rare. It's rare that the best player is also the best leader. The leader oftentimes is not the best player. Maybe he's a prominent player. Maybe he's a rotation player. Maybe he's the old head, right, that rallies the troop, the Udonis Haslem type role. But it just occurred to me that it's not always the best player. And to your point about leadership, it is hard. And it is a responsibility. And there's so many different forms of it that how people think about leadership in terms of being vocal or being demonstrative or being whatever characteristic you ascribe to leadership, it just looks so different. Did you find that when you worked in the NBA and as an agent?
Oh, yeah. If you ask Steve Kerr, how did Michael Jordan lead? Fear, right? But because he could dominate you physically and emotionally, and he did, and he could back it all up. But he led that way. So that is a way to lead. That is a way to lead. You can lead by being so dominant that people have to fall in line. And we will, as human beings, we will. When we are doing something we love and there's somebody that's such an alpha at it and can demand a certain amount from all of us, we will usually fall in line, I think. I think you would have. I mean, I think people that are committed to winning a championship, because when you play at this level, so much emphasis is put on winning a championship. And when you're in it, and you've been in it, I didn't play, you realize that especially a guy like you would make that sacrifice, even as hard as it was, and not fun. It doesn't have to be fun. Steph, the genius of Steph is he can make winning fun. I don't think you played fun. Like, I watched you play a lot, and you were a tremendous player. I don't know that you didn't. Don't take this the wrong way. You weren't laughing when you were playing. Like, I mean, I sent like a competitiveness, a fierceness of you, but I think that's what most people do, right? Magic Johnson, Stephen Curry, the reason they're so revered and applauded and beloved is they had fun doing it. Genuinely. It wasn't fake. And everybody wants to love playing a sport. But I think I wasn't never them. I couldn't say I laugh a lot when I play basketball. I wish. And so then you've got Steph doing that. And by the way, what that does is through the hard parts of a season or a playoff run, Steph keeps it light. Not an agenda. It's just who he is. And he makes people feel good, genuinely. And then now Draymond's the yin and yang into that, though.
And that works, though.
It works.
Yeah.
It works.
Draymond will probably come up again in this conversation.
Oh, yeah. We'll save him.
I think it's interesting. It's like, with Steph, and Magic's another great example of that. There was a way, basketball was a way for them to express joy, and people picked up on that. I'm sure. I mean, I know I did as a competitor, a peer of Steph, someone who battled against him. This motherfucker's having fun.
Yeah.
And if you're on his team, right, that galvanizes in a very different way. I called the Clippers game on Wednesday. Yeah. And a lot of the same season ticket holders. And so, I'm coming out to call the game, and I'm laughing, I'm joking. And one of them came up to me and they said, I've watched you walk through that tunnel 150, 200 times, whatever it was, as a player. I never once saw you smile. I never once saw you smile. It was,
Yeah, I mean,
I took it seriously, man.
yeah,
I took it
no,
seriously.
but you know what? You had to.
I had to.
You had to. You had to. Maybe Steph's such a great shooter. I mean, not that you weren't though. Like, think of how all you had to work to shoot the way you did. But he does the same work. He does.
He's
I
just
think he
way
works.
better.
No, he's just better.
He's just way better.
No, I wish you could have played with him. Actually, I wish anybody could play with him. I do, because when I decided I was leaving, I went to see him for dinner. I cried when I told him I was done, mostly because I felt like I wasn't going to get to see him every day, not because I'm giving up a chance to win another championship. None of that. It was more like, this person's not going to be in my life as much as they used to be. And I'm making that, like, I'm doing this to myself because he's such a good person, such a good light. He's a light that I got to show up and be around. I mean, this guy was, when I was trying to rehab my head, like I don't know. It's tough. I do miss him. I miss the guy, and I wish he's the genuine article. I mean, people that think he's like that for the cameras, or people, he's not really that nice a guy. That's crap. He is, man. You know him a little bit. Yeah. I think you would agree. I mean, there's no fakeness to it. It's real.
It's interesting. Jason and I, we interviewed Steph November of 22 in Houston, and we talked afterwards, and I was like, dude, that's the most I don't even know if Steph's funny. I don't even know if Steph's funny, but it was the most I've ever laughed on a podcast. It just the joy.
No,
it just
it's
comes
crazy.
Across.
It's such a. I told him. I have told him. I'm so. I think I'd say healthy kind of jealous that he can have that much fun. Yeah. Because I'm more like you, man. I struggle. I swear I struggle. Part of the reason why it was hard for me to stay in it was I hated the losing and I wasn't enjoying the winning. And you can't do it like that. The scale wasn't balancing for me, because if you can't enjoy the wins and the losses still piss you off, that's a bad kind of equation. So I was kind of like, I got to get out of this and figure this out, because it just wasn't. But he can do it. He loves the pride. He loves it all. So yeah,